I'm sure that y'all had probably seen videos of the bishop, the pastor. Donald Trump went to some church service, and basically she asked him to be a decent human being, and that was a little bit too much for Trump to handle. She was like, "Hey, could you have a little bit of compassion and consideration for the immigrants and the LGBTQ community and the black and the brown people? Maybe slow down with the rhetoric, the white supremacist stuff." And she didn't even say that specifically. She basically just asked Donald Trump to be a decent human being, and that was too much for my man's. You feel me? Like, nah, who the hell you think you talking to? I'm Donald Trump. I don't do decent. So this was if you haven't seen it, and this is the whole thing. We're not going to watch all of it, but this was some of it.
The culture of contempt that has become normalized in this country threatens to destroy us. Depends. Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals,
So again, I'm gonna get to the tweet, but basically, that's essentially what was going on, and I'm sure at this point y'all have seen this, but I wanted to give a small recap. Basically, she just asked him to be a decent person and have some consideration and some compassion for people who, don't have a lot of resources, don't have a lot of power in society, but people who are doing their best nonetheless and who contribute a lot to our society. That was too much for him. So he gets on. What time was this? It doesn't say, at least on here. He said sometime late at night, he said, "The so-called bishop who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left hardline Trump hater. She brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart." She wasn't compelling or smart. She was nasty in tone, bringing politics into religion by asking you to be a decent human being. Because that's all she really did. She's a far left radical because she thinks that gay people deserve a little bit of consideration and love and compassion. No, fuck them. Okay, he continues. She failed to mention the large number of illegal migrants that came into our country and killed people. Well, there's not a large number of them who did that. But again, that was besides the point. That really wasn't the point, but we continue. Many were deposited from jails and mental institutions. It is a great crime wave that is taking place in the USA. Apart from her inappropriate statements, the service was a very boring and uninspiring one. She is not very good at her job. She and her church owe the public an apology. Donald Trump is the biggest crybaby, whining ass loser I've ever been exposed to. He responds to everything that he perceives to be a slight against him. Everything. What this woman did at this church service, in no way was this offensive, in no way was it disrespectful. In fact, I would say that it's quite fitting for a pastor to talk about the things that she did. She wasn't talking about policy. She just asked about, she basically pointed out that there are people in this country who don't have it easy, who are marginalized, who are attacked, who are blocked from having access to certain opportunities in ways that other Americans are not. That's all she did. I would say that that's very in line with what a pastor is supposed to do. And Donald Trump could have just not said anything about it at all. but that's not who he is. If anything is a slight against him that he perceives to be a slight against him, he's gonna respond to it because that's who he is. It's what he does. So yeah, that the most non-offensive, non-controversial statements by a pastor were too much for the orange Cheeto Jesus in chief.
Hey now, thank you so much for tuning in here at Politics and Paper. If you like what I do and you support my work, go ahead and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it and really helps to support what we do here.